So in this 10-minute podcast episode, I'm going to be discussing the Jesse Lingard situation, how it relates to the Mason Greenwood situation. I'll be looking ahead to Manchester United's game against Middlesbrough in the FA Cup. I'm also going to be talking about Ousmane Dembele at Barcelona. And I'm also going to be talking about my player of the day, which is a player I've been watching. And I'll give a little analysis into what type of player he is, maybe break down some of his stats and make it a regular thing on the 10-minute podcast. But before that, let me tell you about the sponsor of today's video, toptiertipster.com. If you're a football fan and you like to bet on certain matches, but you don't really have a clear system or strategy and you feel like you're just losing money, then definitely check out toptiertipster.com. They've got all the information on their website, which will be linked in the description below. On their site, they've got receipts from their wins and testimonials from people who have used them. So if you are interested in making a bit of money from betting or just need some help, definitely check out toptiertipster.com. They will be linked in the description below. So there is an update with the Mason Greenwood situation. He has been released on bail. Now, we still haven't really had any new information about the incident or how long this will go on for. But as I've said before, I'm pretty sure he's not going to play for Manchester United for the rest of the season. And that links into our second story, which is Jesse Lingard's reported disappointment of not being able to leave Manchester United to join Newcastle in the January transfer window, which was obviously in the plans of both Rangnick and Lingard. But after the Greenwood situation, it seemed that Manchester United's board were reluctant to allow Lingard to leave. And whilst it is unfortunate for Lingard, it is kind of understandable. But apparently Lingard was still quite annoyed about the whole situation, so Rangnick in a press conference did say that he had given him time to clear his head, to which Lingard had tweeted out something along the lines of basically saying that he didn't need time to clear his head and that he was 100% committed to the club. And overall, I do think the situation's being blown out of proportion. I don't think it's that big a deal. I think it's just the timing of the whole situation. This probably happens with quite a few players. Probably Lingard shouldn't have tweeted this out. It does kind of look like he's undermining Rangnick, even though I don't think that's what he's trying to do. I think that both Rangnick and Lingard had come to the agreement to allow him to leave because he obviously isn't in Rangnick's plans. And you saw Van der Beek and Martial, they were allowed to leave as well. So Lingard probably rightfully is a bit disappointed that he's not been allowed to leave. He's clearly not in the plans of Rangnick. He hasn't featured much. But really, Lingard, I think from his own personal point of view, should have been looking to force a move in the summer. I'm not really sure why he didn't. Towards the end of the window, maybe it was because he wanted to play with Ronaldo. But definitely during the start, I thought he hung on far too long. I thought a move to West Ham would have made sense. But he is going to be a backup for the rest of the season pretty much. I'm not even sure how much game time he will get. It's already confirmed that he won't play in the game today against Middlesbrough. And it does look like Rangnick is going to field a pretty strong starting 11. There's reports that Paul Pogba's going to come back, and I would expect him to at least be on the bench, if not starting. Lindelof and Bailly have already been confirmed that they aren't playing, so it's likely going to be Varane and Maguire at centre-back. I would like to see at least one young player in the starting 11, whether that's Elanga from the left side, or maybe even someone like Hannibal Mejbri. But I also do think this is a game that United do have to take pretty seriously. Middlesbrough are 7th in the Championship, and I can easily see this being a game where United are basically forced to break down a deep defensive unit, and we know that isn't one of United's strengths at the moment. I do want to see players like Cristiano Ronaldo and Jadon Sancho start, and if we are winning the game maybe 2-0 or 3-0, we can bring them off around the 60th, 70th minute. But United can't afford to lose this game. Obviously, it would mean they're eliminated from the FA Cup, which is another avenue of silverware that is closed off this season. But also because everything's swelling around United right now, the Greenwood situation, Lingard, the reports of a potential mutiny, the conflict with Ronaldo. United need to just focus on winning games, and eventually this will clear the air. If United can go on a good run of form, winning maybe 5, 6, 7 games, then the problems surrounding the clubs are going to get put in the background. However, if United go on a bad run of form, they get eliminated from the FA Cup, they drop points in the Premier League, then it's only going to be petrol on an already burning fire. And so I do think this game against Middlesbrough is a lot more important than people probably think. But as I did speak about the Mason Greenwood situation, one player who has been linked with Manchester United over the last month or so is Ousmane Dembele. Now Dembele is in quite a weird situation at Barcelona. They're basically saying they're not going to play him. They brought in Adama Traore for that right wing position, and it doesn't look like Dembele will feature for Barcelona for the rest of the season. His contract does expire at the end of the season, and that's why Barcelona do not want to feature him in any of the games as a tactic to pressurise him into signing a new contract. We did see Tottenham do this a few years back with Toby Alderweireld, and Tottenham have done it previously, but now Barcelona are trying this sort of tactic, and Dembele doesn't seem to really be appreciating it. It seems like he wants to leave Barcelona, but when you actually analyse his situation, there's not that many places where he can actually go. So his FBref report still shows he's a top level player, certainly when it comes to his dribbling ability to carry the ball forward, and his chance creating ability as well. He does need to work on his finishing ability to really become an elite level player, and also he needs to stay fit as he has been injury prone over the past few seasons, and there have been questions about his work ethic. So these are all points that really do bring down the attractiveness of an Ousmane Dembele deal. But also, because he's a free transfer and he's already on a massive salary at Barcelona, he's going to have huge wage demands. And that is one problem I see in the progression of his career. He's one of these players who got signed when he was playing at a different standard. At Borussia Dortmund, he looked as though he was going to push into that world-class bracket within the next few seasons. He was absolutely phenomenal. And I think it's fair to say that he hasn't been as good at Barcelona as he was at Borussia Dortmund. And this stagnation is what really is kind of off-putting for a lot of clubs, as there's been reports of his lack of work ethic, conflict with Barcelona as well. So it is a risk if you're taking Dembele, even if it is on a free transfer. If you're looking at places he could potentially go, there's probably Manchester United and PSG, the main two ones. For Manchester United, I would avoid Dembele because I can just see that going wrong. I can see him having a similar sort of situation to maybe Alexis Sanchez, Di Maria, not really fitting in. And once he's not, he seems to be a player that once he's on a bad track, it's hard to get him back on it. And I think there are just better options for Manchester United in that right wing position. I am going to be releasing a video, hopefully either today or tomorrow, looking at the options that Manchester United should sign in the wide attacking midfield position as a Mason Greenwood replacement. And you'll see all the options I suggest there, I suggest about 5 of them. They all seem much better than Dembele. So Dembele, he's not in the best of situations. I could easily see PSG taking him maybe on a free. If they're going to get rid of Mbappe, so they do need a wide attacker who can provide pace in behind, playing alongside Neymar and Messi in that front three. So PSG is really the only one that's a big fit for me. Manchester United would probably be a secondary option if they panicked towards the end of the window. I think actually a move back to Borussia Dortmund would be quite good for him. He'd have to take a significant wage cut, and he probably doesn't want to do that, but I think if he goes back to Dortmund, plays there for 2, maybe 3 seasons, he'd get his career back on track, and that's what I would be telling him to do if I was his agent. But now let's move on to a player who I've only really discovered in the last few weeks. He's called Fakoud Medina. He's a 22-year-old who will be 23 in May, left-footed centre-back who currently plays for Lens in Ligue 1. And the real appeal to Medina is his ball-playing ability. I think he's best when he plays on the left side of a back three, playing in that left-sided centre-back position. And he's a fantastic long passer, able to receive the ball, and then he opens up and he's able to just switch it out to the far flank. He's really good on the ball. If we look at his FBref report, we can see this. He does sit in the 99th percentile for progressive passes when compared to every other centre-back in Europe's top 5 leagues over the past 365 days, whilst also ranking in the 97th percentile for progressive carries. He's ranking in the 96th percentile for tackles and the 90th percentile for pressures as well, and the 90th for dribbles completed as well. And if you look at his passes attempted, pass completion, they are in the 80s and 90s as well. So he's very much a front foot defender. You can see his interceptions, tackles and pressures are pretty high, and that is because he does like to step out of the back line, being able to put in a tackle or make an interception, and this is why he does suit a back three. He reminds me a bit of Marcos Rojo, who particularly at Manchester United was much better as a centre-back than he was as a left-back. It seemed like he had more protection, and I think Rojo probably would have made a good left-sided centre-back if he had played in the right system. Medina has that sort of aggression that Rojo has. I haven't watched enough of him to really see how he performs under pressure and to see if he's a liability in the penalty area as Marcos Rojo was. Well, Rojo was pretty much a liability everywhere. But Medina's a player I would definitely keep track of. He's only 22, and particularly for clubs like Tottenham, who play a back three, maybe Manchester City as well, Leeds, having a centre-back of Medina's quality, not just in terms of his defensive ability, but more so his ball-playing ability, is a massive asset. You look at Pau Torres at Villarreal, how wanted he is, Laporte. So there's not that many left-sided centre-backs who are fantastic on the ball, which Medina is. as well as being very good defenders. So Medina's definitely a player I would be looking out for, and I may do a video on him in a bit more detail, showing you some highlights as well, but definitely check him out. He is my player to watch of the day. I'm going to try to make this a regular thing on the 10-minute podcast, maybe putting out 4 or 5 of these a week. So definitely subscribe to the channel if you enjoy this sort of audio video. Click the bell for notifications and check out Top Tier Tipster, which will be linked in the description below. If you are looking to improve your ability to bet on matches and actually win money, it would help to support the channel as well, so it would be very much appreciated.